And the crazy part about it all is that I've been so quiet. I've been so good and quiet.
Ty Harris just went on social media and threw Caitlin Clark under the bus in the most transparent, thin-skinned, absolutely reckless display of professional immaturity I have seen from an Indiana Fever player this entire season. Let me be entirely clear with every single person watching this video. Ty Harris, a role player averaging less than 4 points per game off the bench, decided it was a brilliant idea to go on X, formerly Twitter, and post a cryptic, passive-aggressive message about how fans need to stop putting people down to support y'all fave. And when she says y'all fave, she is talking about Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark, the reason the Indiana Fever sold out arenas, the reason Ty Harris even has a roster spot to complain about. Meanwhile, Skylar Diggins just posted a cryptic video on social media after being benched by the Chicago Sky, repeating over and over that she has been so good and quiet, like she is sitting on some kind of nuclear information that is going to blow the league wide open. Skylar Diggins, a 34-year-old veteran who has been a problem at every single stop in her career, Seattle, Phoenix, and now Chicago. These are not isolated incidents. These are symptoms of a much bigger, uglier, undeniable reality that the WNBA establishment desperately does not want you to talk about. The old guard in this league cannot handle the pressure of the Caitlin Clark era. They cannot handle the scrutiny. They cannot handle being held accountable by fans who actually pay attention, and instead of stepping up, they are melting down on social media like teenagers. Welcome back. This is Hoops Vision Daily, and today we are documenting the exact moment the wheels fell off for two players who should have known better, and exposing the conversation the establishment refuses to let you have about what happens when veterans cannot handle being replaced by the future. Let me take you through exactly what happened, step by step, because the details matter. The details are what the mainstream media is going to skip over, and the details are what prove this is not about one bad tweet. This is about a pattern. This is about entitlement. This is about players who think they are above criticism simply because they have been in the league for a decade. Ty Harris went on X after a brutal shooting performance, and I mean brutal, the kind of performance where you go 1 for 7 from the field and your plus-minus looks like a war crime, and she posted this. Y'all be preying on people downfall. Y'all ain't got to put others down to support y'all fave. Now, Ty Harris did not name Caitlin Clark. She did not have to. Every single person who read that tweet knew exactly who she was talking about. Y'all fave is Caitlin Clark. Insert Caitlin Clark's name right there because that is exactly who and what Ty Harris was referring to. And here is the part that should irk every single fan who has been paying attention. Ty Harris had no problem soaking up the praise when she had one decent game against a depleted Los Angeles Sparks team, a team missing Kelsey Plum, missing Derica Hamby, a team that was literally playing street free agents off 10-day contracts. She had no problem with the attention then. But the moment fans said, hey, maybe Ty Harris is not good enough to be in the rotation on a championship contending team, she went on social media and made it about Caitlin Clark. That is what this is. That is the move. Deflect. Make yourself the victim. Imply that the only reason people are criticizing you is because they are obsessed with someone else. And before you say, well, maybe she was just venting, maybe she was just having a conversation, let me show you what happened next. A user named Simon responded to Ty Harris and said, hey, Ty, you got to get off. Very unprofessional to be fighting with fans on X. Quote-unquote support y'all fave. Also making statements like this is toxic for team cohesion, making it sound like you have resentment for Caitlin Clark and feeding into online narratives. Try to have less thin skin. That is a reasonable, measured response from a fan. That is not a troll. That is not someone attacking her. That is someone giving her free advice that she desperately needs. And how did Ty Harris respond? She doubled down. She said, my point, made up narratives. I'm having conversations like everybody else do on Twitter. Our team is good in the locker room. Trust me, reread my tweets so you can fully comprehend. Nobody holding resentment. We all trying to help in any way, shape, or form. You see what she did there? She said made up narratives, while literally creating the narrative herself by posting about y'all fave in the first place. She said the locker room is good while publicly airing grievances that make it sound like the locker room is a powder keg. She said nobody is holding resentment while posting a tweet that drips with resentment. Ty Harris is not a victim here. Ty Harris is a professional athlete on one of the most scrutinized teams in American sports. And she does not understand the first rule of social media in 2025. If you are going to complain, do not make it about the franchise player who is the only reason your team is relevant. Now let me be clear about something because I have been covering this league for years and I have said this over and over and over again in my last 3 videos. The WNBA needs mandatory media training. Mandatory, not optional, not a suggestion. Mandatory social media etiquette courses as part of the collective bargaining agreement. Because clearly, most of these players just do not have it. They do not understand that when you are a public figure, your words carry weight. They do not understand that fans are allowed to have opinions without it being a personal attack. They do not understand that criticism of your performance is not the same thing as preying on your downfall. And the fact that Ty Harris cannot separate those two things tells you everything you need to know about why she should not be on this roster in the first place. But here's the part that nobody on TV is going to say out loud, so I am going to say it. Ty Harris is on the Indiana Fever because of Stephanie White. This is a friendship signing. This is a favor. Stephanie White coached Ty Harris in the past, and when Stephanie White took over as head coach of the Fever, she brought Ty Harris along for the ride.
We got Ty Harris coming at fans on X, on Twitter, whichever you prefer to call it, taking subtle jabs at K.
That is fine. Coaches are allowed to have guys, or in this case, women that they trust. But the problem is Ty Harris is not good enough to be in the rotation on a team that is trying to compete for championship. She's not good enough to be taking minutes away from younger, more talented players. And the moment the fans started saying that out loud, Ty Harris made it about Caitlin Clark. That is not accountability. That is deflection. And it is exactly the kind of behavior that poisons a locker room. Now, before I get to what Skylar Diggins Smith just did, and trust me, it is somehow even more unhinged, I need you to understand the broader context here, because this is not just about two players having bad days on social media. This is about a generational divide in the WNBA that the league does not want to admit exists. You have the old guard, players in their mid to late 30s who built this league, who played in empty arenas for a decade, who grinded through seasons where nobody cared, and now suddenly the league is exploding in popularity because of rookies like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. And some of these veterans cannot handle it. They cannot handle that the attention is not on them anymore. They cannot handle that fans are more excited about a 22-year-old point guard than they are about a 34-year-old who used to be an all-star. And instead of passing the torch gracefully, instead of mentoring the next generation, they are crashing out on social media, which brings me to Skylar Diggins Smith. Skylar Diggins Smith just got benched by the Chicago Sky. Benched. And instead of handling it like a professional, instead of talking to the coaching staff behind closed doors, instead of doing literally anything productive, she went on social media and posted a cryptic message. Now I'm coming off the bench. Thumbs up cool. 4 question marks, thumbs up emoji. The passive aggression is off the charts. And then, and this is where it gets truly unhinged, she posted a video. Let me describe this video for you because you need to see it to believe it.
And the crazy part about it all is that I've been so quiet. I've been so good and quiet.
She said it with cameras rolling. I've been so good and quiet. She said it twice, like she is sitting on some kind of bombshell revelation that is going to change the entire league. Skylar Diggins Smith, let me be entirely clear with you. You are not a whistleblower. You are not exposing corruption. You are a 34-year-old role player who got benched because younger, better players took your spot. That is not a conspiracy. That is called basketball. That is called the natural progression of a professional sports league. And the fact that you think posting a cryptic video where you repeat, I've been so good and quiet over and over again is going to generate sympathy tells me that you are completely disconnected from reality. Let me walk you through Skylar Diggins Smith's career trajectory, because this is not the first time she has been a problem. In Seattle, there were reports of a toxic locker room environment. Multiple sources confirmed that Skylar Diggins Smith was a difficult teammate, that she clashed with coaching staff, that she created drama where there did not need to be drama. In Phoenix, she got into a public argument with Diana Taurasi on the bench. Diana Taurasi, one of the greatest players in WNBA history, and now in Chicago she is posting passive-aggressive videos about being benched. 3 teams, 3 separate incidents. At what point do we stop calling this bad luck and start calling it a pattern? And here is the part that should concern every single Chicago Sky fan watching this video. Skylar Diggins Smith is not just complaining about playing time, she's implying that she has information. I've been so good and quiet. That is a threat. That is her saying, I could blow this whole thing up if I wanted to. And you know what? Maybe she should. Maybe she should say whatever it is she thinks she knows, because right now all she is doing is poisoning the well. All she is doing is making herself look like a malcontent who cannot handle adversity. And if the Chicago Sky has any sense, they will cut her loose before this gets uglier. Now let me tell you what both of these situations have in common, because this is the part that the establishment does not want you to connect. Ty Harris and Skylar Diggins Smith are both veterans. They are both players who have been in the league for years. They are both players who are being replaced by younger talent, and they are both handling it in the worst possible way. They are not mentoring. They are not leading. They are not setting an example. They are complaining on social media like they are owed something. And the reason they are getting away with it, the reason the mainstream media is not calling them out, is because the WNBA establishment is terrified of admitting that the old guard is the problem. Let me say that again because I want every single person watching this video to hear it clearly. The old guard is the problem, not all of them. There are plenty of veterans who are handling the transition gracefully, but the ones who are not, the Ty Harrises. The Skylar Diggins Smiths, the Derica Hambys who are constantly complaining about something, they are the ones holding this league back. They are the ones creating drama. They are the ones making it harder for the next generation to succeed, and the league needs to move on. The league needs to pack them up and get them out. I have been saying this in my last 5 videos, and I am going to keep saying it until it happens. The WNBA needs to prioritize young, likable, talented players who understand that this league is bigger than any one person. And if that means cutting veterans who cannot handle being role players, then so be it. Now, let me break down exactly what went wrong tactically in both of these situations, because this is not just about bad social media etiquette. This is about a fundamental misunderstanding of how professional sports work in 2025. Ty Harris made 3 catastrophic mistakes in her response to criticism. Mistake number 1, she made it about Caitlin Clark. The moment you invoke the franchise player's name, even indirectly, you lose. You lose because now the story is not about your performance. The story is about whether or not you resent the franchise player. And once that narrative takes hold, it does not matter if it is true or not. The damage is done. Mistake number 2, she engaged with fans directly. There's a reason why most professional athletes do not argue with random people on social media. It is because you cannot win. Even if you are right, even if your point is valid, the optics are terrible. You look thin-skinned, you look unprofessional. You look like you care more about what strangers on the internet think than you care about winning basketball games. Mistake number 3, she doubled down. When Simon gave her a polite, reasonable critique, she could have said, "You know what, you're right, I should have phrased that differently." Instead, she dug in, she defended the indefensible, and now every single time she has a bad game, this tweet is going to follow her. Every single time someone criticizes her performance, they are going to bring up the fact that she could not handle criticism the first time. That is not coaching malpractice. That is not bad luck. That is sabotage. Ty Harris sabotaged her own career with one tweet, and Skylar Diggins did the exact same thing. She posted a cryptic message about being benched, and now every single time the Chicago Sky loses a game, people are going to say, well, maybe if Skylar Diggins was not causing drama in the locker room, they would be better. She created a narrative that she cannot control. She handed her critics ammunition. And the worst part is, she did it on purpose. She wanted the attention. She wanted people to speculate about what she knows. She wanted to be the center of the story, and now she is, but not in the way she wanted. Let me give you the pattern of behavior that nobody on TV is willing to document. Ty Harris has been a marginal player her entire career. She has bounced around from team to team, never averaging more than 6 points per game, never making an all-star team, never being more than a deep bench rotation piece. And every single time she gets cut or benched or criticized, she finds a way to make it about someone else. In Connecticut, it was about the coaching staff not giving her enough opportunities.
We got Ty Harris coming at fans on X, on Twitter, whichever you prefer to call it, taking subtle jabs at Caitlin.
In Dallas, it was about the system not fitting her skill set. And now in Indiana, it is about Caitlin Clark fans being too harsh. 3 teams, 3 different excuses. 3 times the common denominator was Ty Harris. Skylar Diggins has the exact same pattern. In Tulsa, she was the star and everything was fine. But the moment she went to Dallas and had to share the spotlight with other players, the complaints started. Then she went to Phoenix, and there were reports of her clashing with Diana Taurasi. Then she went to Seattle, and there were reports of a toxic locker room. And now in Chicago, she is posting cryptic videos about being benched. 4 teams, 4 separate incidents. At some point, you have to stop blaming the teams and start looking at the player. And here is who is enabling this behavior. The WNBA Players Association, the mainstream media, the coaches who are too afraid to hold veterans accountable because they do not want to be accused of disrespecting the old guard. Every single one of them stayed silent when Ty Harris posted that tweet. Every single one of them stayed silent when Skylar Diggins posted that video. And their silence is complicity. Their silence is permission. Their silence is the reason why these players think they can get away with this kind of behavior. Receipts coming. I have documented every single one of these incidents in my last 3 videos, and I am going to keep documenting them until someone in a position of power has the courage to say what needs to be said. If you cannot handle being a role player, you do not belong in this league. Now let me tell you what this is costing Caitlin Clark, because that is the part that nobody wants to talk about. Caitlin Clark is 22 years old. She is in her first WNBA season. She is dealing with more pressure, more scrutiny, more expectations than any rookie in the history of this league. And instead of having veteran teammates who mentor her, who protect her, who make her life easier, she has Ty Harris posting passive-aggressive tweets that imply Caitlin Clark fans are toxic. She has a media environment where every single mistake she makes is dissected and every single success is attributed to luck. She has opposing players targeting her physically on the court because they resent the attention she is getting. And through all of that, she is still averaging over 20 points and 8 assists per game. She is still selling out arenas. She is still the reason the WNBA is having its best season in terms of viewership and revenue. And what does she get in return? Ty Harris throwing her under the bus on social media. That is what Caitlin Clark's prime is being burned for. That is the cost of having teammates who care more about their own egos than they care about winning. There it is, Ty Harris on camera admitting that players on Caitlin Clark's team are not built for the pressure, not used to the microscope, do not understand how to conduct themselves publicly. She said it with her own words. And then less than 2 minutes later, she went on social media and proved her own point by conducting herself unprofessionally. You cannot make this up. This is the level of self-awareness we are dealing with. Ty Harris literally diagnosed the problem and then became the problem in real time. Now let me give you my 5 predictions, because this is where I stake my reputation and you get to hold me accountable. Save this video. Come back in 3 months and tell me if I was right or wrong. Prediction number 1, Ty Harris will not be on the Indiana Fever roster by the start of next season. If Ty Harris is still in a Fever uniform when training camp opens in 2026, I want every single person watching this video to come back and roast me in the comments. She is gone. Stephanie White is going to realize that the backlash is not worth it, that the locker room tension is not worth it, and she is going to cut Ty Harris loose. Mark this video. Prediction number 2, Caitlin Clark is going to have the best statistical season of any rookie in WNBA history, and on the day the Rookie of the Year is announced, we are going to see Ty Harris post something passive-aggressive on social media again. Save this clip. It is going to happen. Ty Harris cannot help herself. She is going to make Caitlin Clark's success about her own failure, and it is going to be embarrassing. Prediction number 3, Skylar Diggins Smith is going to demand a trade from the Chicago Sky before the end of the season. Watch the next 2 weeks. She's going to leak something to a reporter. She's going to have her agent put out a statement. She's going to force the Sky's hand. And when it happens, every single mainstream outlet is going to act surprised, even though I am telling you right now it is coming. Prediction number 4. The Athletic or ESPN is going to run a long-form article about generational tension in the WNBA. And it is going to be the most sanitized, both sides, establishment-approved version of the story possible. They are not going to name Ty Harris. They are not going to name Skylar Diggins Smith. They are going to talk about growing pains and adjustment periods and completely ignore the fact that the problem is not the rookies. The problem is the veterans who cannot handle not being the center of attention anymore. Prediction number 5. The Indiana Fever are going to make the playoffs, and when they do, Ty Harris is going to average less than 10 minutes per game in the postseason. And the moment the Fever get eliminated, whether it is in the first round or the second round, Ty Harris is going to post something on social media implying that she did not get enough opportunities. Mark this video. Screenshot this timestamp. I am telling you right now it is going to happen, and here is the closing emotional beat that I want every single person watching this video to sit with. Caitlin Clark right now in this moment is doing exactly what the haters said she could not do. She is thriving under pressure. She is selling out arenas. She is making her teammates better. She is handling criticism with grace. She is proving that she belongs in this league. And while she is doing all of that, players like Ty Harris and Skylar Diggins Smith are melting down on social media because they cannot handle being role players. That tells you everything you need to know about who deserves your respect and who deserves to be packed up and sent home. Now here is what I need from you. Drop your most honest take in the comments. Is Ty Harris a victim of toxic Caitlin Clark fans? Or is she a marginal player who cannot handle criticism? Pick a side, defend it. I want to see the debate, and while you are down there, save this comment. I just predicted that Ty Harris will not be on the Fever roster next season. If I am right by opening day 2026, come back and tell me. If I am wrong, roast me, I will own it. Tag the friend who keeps telling you that veterans deserve more respect just because they have been in the league for 10 years. Make them watch this video and tell you they still believe it after seeing Ty Harris and Skylar Diggins Smith crash out in real time. And here is what is coming next. Tomorrow, we are going to break down the Indiana Fever's playoff chances and why Stephanie White's rotations are going to determine whether this team makes a deep run or flames out in the first round. If you are not subscribed, you are going to miss it. Hit the bell. This is Hoops Vision Daily. We will see you in the next video.